Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Monday, August 4th edition of the Daily Pulse. I'm your host, Teddy Panos, coming here from the Well Point Studios here in beautiful downtown Lowell, and we're kicking off another week here on Inside Lowell on the Daily Pulse, the show that keeps its finger on the pulse of Lowell and the world around it. And over the weekend, late into last week, lots of things were developing in Lowell and the world around it, and reporting on so many of those items was my guest co-host for today, Melanie Gilbert.
Good morning,
from the
Teddy.
Lowell Sun. Good morning, Melanie.
We're back at it. We're back to reporting hard news after that fabulous 38th annual folk festival, which was off the hook, particularly Saturdays, from what I heard.
Yeah, Saturday, I'm hearing record crowds on Saturday. Probably would have been a record crowd for the festival, but for that rain on Sunday that kind of put a buzzkill on it a little bit. But the locals came out by mid-afternoon. Our business.
Oh, is that right, on Sunday?
Yeah, on Sunday.
I have to tell you, I saw you on Sunday early morning, and I was walking to cut through to go to the HCID garage to count license plates. This is my hard news.
You're trying to do the crowd count?
Yeah, the crowd count on the license plate.
God, are you dedicated?
I'm telling you, it was actually pretty interesting. I mean, it's hard to suss out who's a resident or who's a visitor, who's just in for the day, but there is no hotel downtown now. So those people are, I mean, I haven't done it would be anecdotal reporting, obviously, because it's not like I walk through out there on a non-festival day and count license plates. But there were plates from Texas and Florida and Connecticut and New Hampshire and Maine and Michigan.
People do come from all over. And I've met them through the 38 years now. And
you would know, when they come in, they probably identify themselves, right?
And say, what's great for us is it's free advertising, because while the people from Texas aren't exactly likely to come back, those from Dunstable or from, the North Shore who come on up, they sometimes become repeat customers.
Oh, interesting.
And there's a number of people that we have now as repeat customers that tell me their first Spanakopita.
Well, you've got that great location there. You have the street. What do they call it? Streetery. The streetery with your bollards or street things.
The Jersey barriers. Bollards is a much nicer word than Jersey barriers, is it not?
You got to paint them in the Greek flag.
Well, so we had back in the second year of them, they had artists paint them.
Okay.
And they had done a little Santorini scene.
Oh, nice.
So, but the DPW crew has mixed and matched them now at some point. So some of ours end up at Warp and Weft.
Interesting.
Some of theirs end up
pretty hard to move. So you can't. That's not like a weekend gig.
Look, I'm just glad they're putting them out there. I'm not going to complain to them. But some breaking news as we speak about the Lowell Folk Festival and chances of having a 39th one next year, which once were in doubt and seemed so bleak.
Well, $20,000 doesn't seem like a lot of money unless you're a nonprofit, because they live and die on donations. And so when that news broke in May or April, back in March or April, that the NEA, National Endowment for the Arts, was going to cut their funding, which they had already expensed because they got it almost a year ago. And so you have to give your receipts to get paid. That's how the grants work. So they'd already spent the $20,000. And then the NEA drops a bomb saying, oh, yeah, guess what? We're not going to give you that $20,000. So don't bother sending in your receipts. But you could appeal. And they appealed, and they won their appeal. This message just came out today that, I don't know when. I don't know. Maybe it came in Thursday, but we were told today on Monday. Today the Folk Festival was a week ago. Today we are overjoyed and honestly a little stunned to share that the National Endowment for the Arts has reinstated its grant to the Lowell Folk Festival after a long and an uncertain appeals process, which actually I thought was very fast, because they probably appealed in like April or May. And here 2 months later. So some of this, I think, it's like the tariffs. You got to work for it.
So the folk festival people sent the press release out literally at 10 a.m. this morning?
While I was getting my cup of coffee.
And now, was there? You didn't read the whole press release. No. So was there a thank you to President Trump and the folks in D.C.? Did I miss that somewhere in the release?
It didn't jump out at me.
No? Because there was a lot of critique.
I got to tell you, that's a missed opportunity. They could have done that. Said, "Thank you, President
How about
Trump."
a thank you, President Trump?
Right.
We'd love to invite you to the next year's Folk Festival.
That's right.
Come celebrate the 200th anniversary of Lowell.
Oh, good one.
With the
same
Folk
time.
Festival,
I like
President
that.
Trump, and maybe
It's not too late. We
can do a folksy version or a polka version of the YMCA, and you can dance.
They could bring in somebody, maybe the MAGA. I don't know what, the twirlers or something.
Something. But see, this is the stuff that drives me nuts, because everybody overreacts. It is this whole. So did they really cut the funding to the festival? Or did they say, we're putting it on hold, we want you to explain what this goes to, we want to make sure it's part of the mission and not part of the things that we've deemed no longer proper?
Yeah.
Because there is a difference in the wording, as we're going to discuss in a few minutes with something else that made news late last week.
Well, the Folk Festival, when they originally came out when the NEA issued their decree, they said they're going to focus on Asian, Hispanic, or Latino and other Native American, which Native American, immediately jumped out at me, because they've always done Native American.
Yeah, the Folk Festival has had a component of all of that.
Right.
Since I remember.
Right, exactly. And the 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 dance troupe, of course. And so I thought, well, they're a no-brainer. So I do think, to win an appeal. So I do think that the NEA was under orders to justify themselves, that you can't just pass out money like Halloween candy. You have to show that you have
accountability.
And so
we demand accountability in government until somebody demands that accountability for a project that we like, right?
Absolutely. And so I think the accountability factor was a shock, because they'd already expensed it on that prior promise of the $20,000. That's where the shock and awe came in, is that, wait, you gave us permission to spend this money by granting it should have been grandfathered in some way. And maybe everybody got their money back. Maybe it was just to go through the motion so that next year they know what to do. Like, I do think some of these grants are like, oh, send in your name and address and we give you a ticket for $20,000, And, I don't know what the application process is. Yeah. So it might have been less of a quid pro quo and more of a pro forma. And so this was sort of to get their wheels turning. But in any event, they got the money.
Great news. They now have a $20,000 head start on 2026.
Yep.
Plus, they should get that $20,000 back, which they may have removed from the budget. So look at that. The Folk Festival Foundation is $40K ahead.
I think they should use that $20,000 and build a golden tent.
A Tom Golden tent?
Golden. Yeah, either way.
He makes enough money.
Kill two birds with one stone.
He can sponsor that
and
tent.
invite Trump to come to the. I think you're absolutely right.
I like it. I like it.
Do that. We'll get lots of money.
All right. Good news on the festival front. Lots of news on many other fronts. We're going to talk about all of it with Melanie Gilbert from the Lowell Sun. Let me just quickly thank my Daily Pulse sponsors. You know the dealio with Ray Booten, right? Licensed realtor in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, certified appraiser in both of those states as well. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, a business, or a commercial property, you need to get in touch with him right away. realestaterayBooten.com is the web address where you can find him. That's realestaterayBooten.com. Thank you as well to our friends at WellPoint. WellPoint, the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Thanks, WellPoint. Thanks, Ray. We'll thank the other sponsors in a little bit.
I love Ray Booten. I have to say it every time I'm here. I love his listings. You can go online and walk through the house.
Yeah, he does.
Like voyeur.
He hires professional photographers to do it all.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, can you imagine the days you actually had to drive there and go look through a place, and now you can just do a virtual tour and... I love it.
Still, when I bought mine and Ray was my realtor, my wife and I, we went. You gotta go.
You gotta
because they're gonna edit out the blemish.
Yeah. They do the wide angle lens, and then it's
the room always looks bigger than it is.
Yeah.
You know the dealio.
You put a level on the counter, it's sloping toward Ecuador. So
since we were talking about government accountability and government money, I was going to save this for later, but let's roll naturally off that. The Rourke Bridge surprise that you reported on, you put it in about a month or so ago, and I'm like, did Melanie screw up her numbers? That's not like her, where you said the $273 million project that was trumpeted was actually $303 million. So I waited, and last week you received confirmation that, yes, indeed, it's not a $273 million project. It's a $303 million project. Please explain how we already went up more than 10% on the project cost. Well, I guess they did finally drill some boreholes in the Maryland. How did that happen, Melanie?
Well, it's like a restaurant business, right? So they say your steak is $20, but then you get the bill and they've already added the tip. But they didn't tell you. But the tip is in the price, but it's not on the menu. So that was the contract. The contract, and Skanska, cleverly, put out 2 press releases, and this is how it came to my attention, because I did a Skanska search, because I thought, well, I want to see what they put out about the bridge, because that might be different what MassDOT is saying. And I found one press release for $273 million, and then I found a second press release for $303 million. So I thought, well, that's weird. And the 273 was in April, which is when the news broke, when they got, or March, when they got the contract, when they were the low best value bid. Okay.
Important wording there.
Yeah,
okay.
Best value bid. And then their second press release of the $303 million was in June. That's a big gap. So that's when I contacted MassDOT, and I am going to do follow-up reporting on that for tomorrow, because I reached out to MassDOT. I said, hey, can you reconcile the $30 million difference? And their PR person said, well, that's a contingency, which shades of, the Lowell High School project.
The contingency, AKA the money that will be spent, and then some afterwards as we.
Well, their explanation was that contingency might not be spent, so it's not included in the contract.
So,
but it's included in our tax dollars.
Well, my question would be, why not? If you're going to ask for bids, the contingency is standard, and it's a standard percentage that's put in there. So, what my understanding was, there were 2 other bidders. Skanska, by far the lowest bid at 273. The others came in at 295, 298, or something like that.
You put it on your website.
Yeah. Did they? Right. Well, it was part of their info that they sent out.
Right.
Did they include contingencies in their bids?
Well,
because if I'm one of the other companies that, we already included the 10% or whatever percent contingency fee is, I want to have this reopened and reexamined.
Well, I did get a follow-up email from MassDOT after that story ran.
Yeah, anything that shows them abusing taxpayer dollars or being careless with them.
Which was a lot more explicit and not at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, it was, this is going to be for flagging and incidental costs and the contingency.
That's part of construction.
It's typical.
Any construction project, police detail, road closures, repaving of roads, all that is worked in. That's why I was stunned to see them actually confirm to you that this is what it was. And I'd like to know what these other companies bid and what they included in their
Teddy,
bids.
You're reading my mind. I already sent them emails. Now, I don't know if I'll get a response, but State Senator Kennedy's understanding, of course, was that that $30 million was rolled into the 273.
As it should have been.
Right. And they were questioning my reporting on that, So it wasn't me just pulling numbers out of thin air. This was directly from Skanska, which made me ask MassDOT, which confirmed it, which is why I reported it. But previously...
It was a press release that Skanska sent to some trades, right? Where they brag, the construction magazines or publications.
Yeah, but it's online, right?
They brag about, we got this bid, we
had the best value bid, right?
So, can I talk about a bigger thing with the Rourke Bridge that's really bugging me? Somewhere around the time you came to the Sun and started working in Lowell, that bridge was $60 to $100 million.
Oh, yeah. Senator Kennedy talked about that.
And then it was 160. And then 200 million. Then 273. We're now at 303. And I get it. Construction costs have gone up. COVID changed the world. I get all of this. But I'm looking at that design of the bridge. All right. And I'm seeing a government project, a taxpayer-funded project that is including things that, quite frankly, have nothing to do with getting from one side of the Merrimack River to the other.
Okay.
And I'm talking about, if you look at that design, now we got 2 walking lanes or 2 bike lanes and 1 walking lane or vice versa.
Right.
Isn't that a little overkill?
As a bike ride.
Again, you're widening the bridge, AKA making it more expensive. You need more materials, probably more support. Okay, Massachusetts law says in this era of, greenness.
Well, you have to make it ADA compliant.
You have to make it right. So we need to have a bike lane and we need to have a walking lane. Okay, do you need two?
Well, it's on either side.
But if you look at their artist rendition, there's actually there's a bike lane going in each direction. Why they can't share it?
No, I might be looking at it wrong, but there's a lane on one side and it's a split lane, and one side is for walking, one side is for biking, and then the other side is the opposite. But
But do you need them on both sides of the bridge?
The possibilities are there. You want to think ahead. I live right by the Minuteman Bike Trail, and back in the day, in the mid '80s, I wasn't here then, but I was just reading the history. Is that people were really against it. It was the old railroad line. And because who rides a bike? And they couldn't see the vision. That thing is packed all the time. It could be.
I'll allow for it.
It could be a super highway, and it still wouldn't be, it would still be underutilized. So I think the Rourke Bridge is trying to project out, by the time it's finished,
Great.
we will need those bike lanes.
Yeah, maybe. And by the way, the bike lanes and the walking lanes, it's a straight line. So you just get straight pieces of steel. And,
Right.
So will it cost extra? Sure. Those little jut outs, those little curves, there's 3 of them that I've seen in the artist's renditions.
Right.
With little viewing areas, benches, places for people to stop and look at it. I'm not a construction expert. I only play one on podcasts. But I'm going to guess curving steel is much more expensive than straight steel.
I would have to go back because that whole process did start way back in, I want to say, 2020, 2019. I started in 2022. That design was already vetted.
Sure.
So
but it was when they told us it was 60 million.
Yeah.
Now we're at 303 million. Can we scale it back to 280? Can we scale it back to 250 by just saying, hey, it's a bridge.
Yeah.
It's meant to get people and things from one side of the river to the other. If you want to park, we'll create you a little park.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, it's a good way to
on
put
the
that.
Pawtucket Boulevard and one on Pawtucket Street.
They are creating those.
So why do we need a bleeping park on part of the bridge?
Yeah, you're right. There are like 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
Or 2
Again,
or
1, 3, 4?
Yeah, maybe put them in the middle. If you make it that far, you can sit down. But if you don't,
taxpayer dollars. Who cares? It's not our money. It's the taxpayer dollars.
Good point.
And suddenly, your 60 million project becomes 300 million plus. Do any of us think that it's going to be built for $303 million when all is said and done?
Well, according to MassDOT, they might not have to touch that money, Teddy. That's just purely contingency.
Yes.
That's not part of the contract.
Can they spill that 30 million over to the high school project?
Yeah, so
out there?
it's all what your the meaning of is, so the definition of is. So
But accountability. You said that word, and it's taxpayer money. Would the taxpayers be okay if the cost of that bridge was 10, 20, 30 million dollars less because we did a simple design as opposed to a park in the middle of the
kicker to
River?
this story too is that I think I saw in the MassDOT documents, and I'm spitballing here because I don't have it in front of me, but I think that bridge is only slated to last 75 years.
Oh, so we'll do this again.
You can do it all over again.
In 75, before the turn
and
of the
high
century.
school, the shelf life on the high school is 50. Like, wow.
We'd be lucky to get 5.
But I think it's -4 in some
We're
parts.
already wasted a couple.
I think the gym is like.
All right, that's my pet peeve.
Those are really good.
Rourke
Those are good
Bridge.
points. I wish I'd been here at the beginning. I would have to look back at our previous reporting, but it is kind of exciting to be here when the bid is out, and now we can really dial in and see how they stay on schedule and they stay on task and they don't add. Next, we'll have like lights on the bridge, flashing.
Well,
and,
the bells and whistles come. Again, it's a bridge. It's supposed to get you from one side of the river to the other. Can it be nicer than the military bridge? Can it be nicer than the old University Ave bridge where it had the steel grates and made the sounds when you drove over? Yeah, sure. But come on, we're now telling the taxpayers we're just going to spend your money for nice things because we can.
As Sean McDonough's. Why can't we have nice things? Well, we will.
Because somebody needs to pay for them. Is this the same Sean McDonough that's complaining about his parking rates? It's like, if you want nice parking garages, you got to pay for them.
You got to pay for it, right? Now, agency idea is a nice garage.
That's the trade-off. But if you want nice things, you have to pay for them.
But we're going to have a nice bridge. And we are going to pay for it.
We hope. I mean, personally, the cheap Greek in me would have built a nice straight bridge across the river, whatever angle they needed to do. I would have turned the Rourke Bridge into a nice pedestrian and bike bridge.
Oh, Oh, that's interesting.
Dress it up a
like
little.
Like a High Line.
Dress it up a little. Make it the walking and pedestrian
You'd
bridge.
save a couple million on that alone.
But what do I know? I'm just a cheap Greek.
I like that, Teddy. They did that in New York with the High Line. They repurposed the old railroad trestle or whatever it was.
And made it a walking thing.
It's beautiful. I haven't been there. It's one of my bucket list items I want to go see. I think it's amazing. That would have been great.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't make any of those info sessions, the design sessions 10 years ago when they were playing.
Yeah, and they could also use it, as an emergency
vehicle.
vehicle.
Look at that. Get them across.
Do one lane.
Yeah. We could even let the buses go over it.
Yeah, right.
And see if the bus drivers would actually use that, unlike the Lord over.
Because you're right. With a pedestrian, I don't think the safety, MassDOT is always saying it's perfectly safe. And they have spent a lot of money lately. I think it's like $3 million on it. But with just foot traffic, that would be a whole different ballgame.
Unless you get a bunch of people like me walking across at the same time. Then you put a strain on.
They put a toll on you.
Yeah,
you have to weigh in before you cross the bridge.
It's like they make the trucks
Talk about accountability.
Giant scale. We're chatting with Melanie Gilbert from the Lowell Sun. She's our guest host on today's edition of the Daily Pulse. We're going to get back to our discussion. Still lots more to talk about and lots more reporting that Melanie has been very busy with that we like to share with our audience. First, let's thank our Daily Pulse sponsors. We've already told you about Ray Booten. You can find him online, realestaterayBooten.com. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, business or commercial property, that's the person you need to talk to. Thank you as well to WellPoint. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Washington Savings Bank, banking that feels like home. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection to Greater Lowell and Southern New Hampshire since 1925. Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life through strategic, impactful philanthropy. Francis E. Preventure Insurance, the agency Greater Lowell has counted on to insure its most valuable assets since 1982. And by the Massachusetts Pirates, 2025 season is over. Hopefully the 2026 season brings back more hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City. Back with Melanie Gilbert.
But just to pick up off of that, did I read it in your reporting that they're not coming back to Lowell?
There's speculation that they're moving to Tampa, Florida.
Oh, right. Oh, that's right. I did.
This social media website that follows indoor football, arena football, put that speculation out there. Naturally, I reached out to the Pirates, and naturally, they do not comment on stories that are out there.
When they have no comment, that means yes, but we can't tell you.
And then you give them you can speak as on or off the record as you would like, and they still don't get back to you.
Yeah. Then you start to think, okay. Was there attendance down?
It was awful.
Really?
It was not unusual to go in there and see maybe a couple of hundred people.
Oh.
Now, probably there was some season ticket sales and stuff, but I think it's a good product. I think they promote themselves pretty well. They try to get involved in the community and their events. I've seen them at the City of Lights parades. I've seen them at the Chelmsford Independence Day parade.
Or something.
They run clinics. They get out there and stuff.
Is it just too big a venue? It wasn't intimate?
Where they play everywhere else, it's similar style arenas, and they seem to do better. They had the same issues in Worcester at the DCU Center, from what I understand.
Is that why they left Worcester?
So, could they be successful in Tampa? I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird move.
It's nice to have them here. Now that we're getting that Futures Collegiate Baseball back, the hockey team, which is always, rumored to be looking, flirting with Boston there. They're coming back for at least one more year, albeit they're playing, I think, 4 games now in Boston. But, to have the football team here, it's vibrancy. It's something to do. So.
It's kind of tough, though, because we're not a off-season football town, really. And that always kind of, I don't cover sports, but I always had a hard time, reconciling that. Like, it doesn't feel right to go to football in May.
You could maybe May if you're playing from February through May, but when you're playing from May through, Labor Day weekend is usually when the championship game is. That's a tough time. My kids love to go, but they only went to 2 games this year because with vacations and so much other stuff. summertime is difficult, right? Whereas in the fall, the spring or fall, even that you're in a school routine and you're around pretty much every weekend. So
is that part of their contract that they can't compete with the NFL?
I would imagine it's suicide to try to do it, but I don't know if they're trying not to compete with the XFLs and this other stuff that's out there. That I don't know.
Maybe recreational Florida will be a better fit for them, where it's summer all year long.
Could be. Although, who wants to be indoors in the summer?
Well, in Florida.
Isn't that a waste of having nice weather? Of being indoors all the time?
Well, and that's another slant against a summer schedule.
And Tampa did at one time, my understanding is for 15 years, have an arena football team, which is indoor football, and that went away too. So we shall see.
A lot of things.
To be determined.
All right, so back to what you wanted.
Back to government accountability. Hotel shelters.
Oh, right.
Press release last week. Governor's office patting herself on the back, saving taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Billions maybe.
Let Maura Healey help you.
By closing all the hotel shelters in the state. Missing a word there, though.
ICC.
Family/migrant shelters, because as we got confirmation, they didn't close the ICC. That's still being used as a shelter, different kind. They're also, manager Paul Cohen out in Chelmsford reached out, said they haven't closed the Best Western either. That too is a different kind of shelter. So now maybe the people who write the press releases for the governor's office aren't as thorough as you and I
They're
are.
all former reporters. So
they are. Who got out of the business to make real money spinning propaganda. But that's kind of a key word to leave out of that press release. It wasn't in the headline. It wasn't in the subheading. It wasn't anywhere in the article. The emergency family shelters.
Right.
But she did tout how much money closing the emergency shelter system is saving the state and the taxpayers, right?
Well, the number one question is, where'd these people go? If they weren't deported, either forcibly or self-deported, where are they? If they're legit in the country and they're not in the shelter, where did they all go? And the Boston Globe actually had a very interesting article, I think this past weekend, about the home base program. So, I don't really, I'd have to figure out what Lowell's portion of the home base is. But I do know that I've heard, not squabbling, but rumblings about how the housing crisis in Lowell is exacerbated by the fact that these units are being occupied by, the state is coming in and occupying those, taking over those vacant units. Because the landlords aren't dumb. It works in their favor to have a steady tenant. You don't have to list it. You don't have to do anything.
You don't have to chase the tenant for money because Uncle Sam is direct depositing that check to you every month.
Every month.
And they're good for, they may delay a little bit, but they're good for it.
You don't have to list the property. You don't have to do anything, really.
And I'm willing to bet that, whereas most people who need emergency housing or need affordable housing can only afford to pay so much, I'm going to guess that Maura Healey's check through home base that she's sending the landlord might be a little bit higher than the landlord would be able to get if he or she had to put that on the open market.
Right.
Just a hunch I have.
Yeah. So there's a lot of roads to explore in that issue, but the ICC is fully functional
and rented, leased by the state through the end of 2026.
Right.
That was confirmed.
Right.
Once again last week.
So what was that? How much was that per month? I can't even remember now. $330,000 a month, something cuckoo. I got to break that down. What is that per room?
But are they really saving the taxpayers money like that press release was quote unquote trumpeting, as I like to say? Or did they just reshuffle it over to home base and it actually might end up being more expensive because again, I'm going to guess it's more expensive to house them in a nicer apartment than a hotel room.
Right. Well,
if I had to guess. Yeah,
I would say that it's going to be a burden. It's just going to be in other categories. Mm-hmm. It's like when I was asking the city about their marketing. They had $1 million marketing that they did, but that wasn't in the budget. It was in the budget, but it was in the ARPA side of the budget. So it's ARPA money, which wisely they spent because they have a very short window to get rid of all that money. So they must have had money left over that they had to allocate. Mm-hmm. That's a I don't have a problem with that. I think better use it than give it back. So they used it, or they're using it. But that's not something you would find in the City of Lowell budget. that line item. There are other things like CG Community Block Grant. What are some of the other ones? They're in little pots of money that aren't readily identifiable. Like when you open the City of Lowell budget and you do Control F and you search, it wouldn't come up. You have to know. You don't even have to know where to look. You have to know what you're looking for. Usually I just email Connor Baldwin, who's very transparent and very helpful. But I have a feeling, I don't have that kind of contact in the state government, but my point here is that I have a feeling this home-based stuff and this migrant money is being shifted. It's going someplace in some other pot.
100%.
Not in the budget.
And ultimately it isn't solving the housing crisis except for those who are being given this housing preference,
right.
But those who are already struggling, which was thousands of families beforehand,
right.
They're still in trouble because they're not being put back into the hotels that were closed.
Right.
And it's not driving down, ultimately, it's not driving down the price, the cost of housing.
No.
The more
you could argue it's driving up.
Correct. You bring in 7,500 families, which I believe was the number at peak. Well, where are you going to house them? You know, in the press release, the governor's office brags about they've transitioned into long-term Massachusetts residents. Well, great, but at what cost?
Right.
At whose detriment? And you know, again, there's spin-off effects to this school funding as we keep hearing, busting them if these kids that were at the IGC
came from Bedford or wherever
wanted to go back to Bedford or Billerica or wherever they were beforehand. How many years do you have to keep
busing them
back there, right? What is the requirement there? It'd be nice if they let the auditor look at some of this stuff, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We'd find the truth.
Those are good questions, you know, to be asking EOHLC, you know, how many families are in Lowell? How many of those families that moved out of the shelter were placed in Lowell? Maybe CTI has that information too, because I'm sure they work through them because they're sort of the main housing player. Or CBA, I don't know. But those are good questions. I don't think this has gone away. It's just not as visible.
All right. So again, accountability, transparency, still missing. Speaking of, to what can we account this awful smell in South Lowell?
You know, I have been over there. Yeah.
You've been doing a ton of reporting on this now. Good for you. I'm not going into any stinky neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, I tried and I never got a whiff of it because I wanted firsthand reporting. But every day I went there, I was trying to coordinate with Kim Scott, like, do you smell it today? You know, because I'll, get right over there. But I guess the majority of it is like when it's really, really hot, but it pops up intermittently.
Is it wind direction? What causes?
It could be wind because, that's an interesting thing is that, the Billerica water treatment plant is south of that neighborhood. But they usually have their putrid smells at night. And that's the same thing with the Lowell Regional Waste because they do all that cleaning at night. And so it's not only at night, though. It can be in the middle of the day. It can be at 4 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the evening. So it's like this random putrid smell. So a reader flew their drone over the site, which is super interesting.
I wish you had thought of it because you asked to get a tour of the site.
They wouldn't give me a tour, so second best is a drone. And I said to the guy,
somebody else is funding the drone, even better.
Well, even better. And I said to the guy, I wish your drone had a nose, because like if you could, like that would be the next generation of information is that you can actually not only see it, but experience it. Sensory, but they say it'll suffocate you.
The Facebook groups that I see people, especially last week or 2 weeks ago, they were really saying that this is the smell that they got recently was unlike anything they've ever had before.
It smells like dead animals is what they say. It's way different from poop.
So I saw that.
So they become smell connoisseurs. Yeah. And they know.
So I know Baker Commodities simply because they take the used fry later oil that
that's a big side.
When we clean the fry later oil at the Athenian Corner, they take it and I don't know what the hell they do.
They dump it in South Lowell. Thanks, Teddy.
So it's reconfigured. Boy, if mine doesn't that smell. But it's used as fuels, right? As we found out, it could be used to power the Markley Group generators if there was enough of it. I knew a guy who put the old owner of Fio's had a car that he converted to run on his used fryer.
If you have diesel engines,
saved a ton of money. So, which is all well and good, but I mean, that doesn't really create all that, maybe some burnt French fries, you get a little bit of a smell, but not a dead animal smell. But your reporting uncovered that the residents were right. They said it smelled like dead animal. because it's probably dead animals. So please tell the audience what else they do there besides recycling my used Friolator oil at the Athenian Corner and every other restaurant.
Well, they bring in carcasses, and I don't know where they get those.
Animal carcasses.
Animal carcasses.
What kind of animals?
Mostly dairy.
Squirrels?
Mostly dairy, predominantly dairy. I don't think they're
cows?
Yeah, cows.
Goats?
You know, I've asked the company all these questions and they've gone radio silent. But prior reporting that was done on a Ventura, California plant, they were cited and had to close. They had to stop processing animals because the smell was so bad. And when California DEP went in there, I mean, their machines were filthy. They hadn't cleaned their tanks. I mean, it was just a bleep show. So, that was probably 2013. So I don't know if that's replicable as to what's going on in Billerica.
So it could be a good hint.
But it seems, last time they had this really bad smell in 2022 when I just started, and Kim Scott made a motion and said, what the heck? And the plant said that they had a cooker that was down. So they just let all that stuff sit, which, is you can go buy a carcass in the, a deer carcass by the side of the road. I guarantee if you walked past that, it would smell.
Right.
So you can imagine if you have 50,000 of them sitting in a cooker that hasn't cooked. So I don't know if they've had malfunction. I don't know if they're taking in too much product that they can't process fast enough. I don't know if they opened a window. I don't know. I don't know what. But I think you can't ignore the residents. Now, Billerica Health Department, it's not under the purview of Lisa Golden with the Lowell Health Department. She doesn't have any dog in that fight. But the Billerica Health Department said Mass DEP has an investigation on it based on the number of complaints. Mm-hmm. So my next email is to ask them, where are those complaints coming from? Is it equally Billerica and Lowell? Where's the geographic spread?
So that's one of the questions I've asked Councilor Scott. I'm like, okay, so the South Lowell residents are complaining.
Right.
Are they just complainers? They're complaining about Markley. They're complaining about the train station. They're complaining about Baker commodity. Right? But why isn't Billerica
Maybe they don't do cookouts. I don't know. Maybe they never go outside. Yeah, it's interesting. They may be.
It seems now the answer I got is Billerica just keeps saying, well, that's a state problem. That's a state issue. But humans are humans. Whether you live across the Billerica town line or the Lowell town line in South Lowell, a smell is a bad smell, and you don't want to smell it when you're on the deck, playing with your kids in the backyard or trying to do your own.
She said you can't even use your air conditioning because that's bringing in the outside air.
Yes.
And it was just awful. They had to close their windows. I mean, it was even through the closed windows they could smell it. So, it's really, I don't like it that the company is ignoring the residents, and then they're ignoring me. So, the only recourse we have, I don't know why it has to be so confrontational.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. They're not doing anything illegal, no. I would think. Right? They have a license.
Well, we don't know. We didn't get a tour.
Everyone knows what kind of building, what kind of industry it is. Everyone knows what they do. I mean, we didn't know about the animal stuff, but, you did report on it that these types of facilities, they take the large animals, they skin them, they use the hide for one thing, and then they boil them and convert them to fuel, right? Which is good. Recyclable and whatever. We could all get behind that except for the smell. But again, there are certain industries where the smell is the byproduct. Sewage treatment plants. Do we want to have that smell wafting over Christian Hill and Belvedere on summer nights? Or do we want to have untreated sewage in the Merrimack River?
Well, you can have both. This is one of those situations where you can have both because the technology has evolved. And as a credit to Aaron Fox, the Lowell Regional Wastewater Utility is doing massive upgrades. I reported on that too, on their containment. On their recycling the poop to put it back into the Merrimack River. So, and they're trying to be mindful. There is a limit, and so they try to do it at night. The really, really stinky part that is open air, there's nothing you can do about it because it's the sludge that's left over. But, you do wonder, I know this stuff costs money, and I know plants don't want to spend, money that they don't have to. And maybe it is a question of that the residents have to raise such a stink that the plant will, reconsider. They wouldn't let me pass the front office, So when they say they don't want to give a tour because of safety concerns, why? Because I might slip into a vat of, cow.
You might get too close to the edge and fall in.
Yeah, or the floor
or somebody nudges you in.
Yeah, or the floor is too slippery with blood. I don't know what that means. They didn't clarify that. But, I know there has been a persistent complaint going back years that seems to be, nauseating smell, not the poop smell, like a dead animal smell.
Which is a whole different animal. Pardon the pun there, geez. But it does, to me, bring up an even larger issue that I wonder about. Because, and by the way, it always seems like South Lowell is in the middle of this. There's, the trucks getting off the Woburn Street exit to cut through to Tewksbury and this and that. Or Tewksbury's putting up a battery facility. So South Lowell residents are getting the round. Apparently, South Lowell is got to deal with all these issues.
Markley, or
the Markley issues.
Plant, right?
How much say do surrounding towns get over another? This is a facility in Billerica. Does Lowell have any say, other than complaining to the Department of Environmental Protection or whoever the agency is? Because otherwise, Billerica could do whatever they want on the Lowell town line, and
well, they're getting the tax dollars.
You've got to grin and bear it in Lowell, and maybe that's why Billerica isn't complaining as loudly as Lowell, because at least Billerica might be getting the smell too, but they're getting the economic benefit from it, whereas South Lowell isn't.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of it there as well.
Well, that might be again where they need to involve the delegation. That it's a regional issue. It's not just a neighborhood issue, although the neighborhood is smelling it. It's right on the Concord River, so there are a lot of little thinking about what's the impact overall on the community. What's going on over there? I mean, a smell can't be a good thing.
No.
A dead animal smell.
Usually something causes that smell. And it's not a good, never anything good unless it's a rose.
And it's been persistent, and it's been long-standing. So it suggests something bigger. So we do have somebody who's going to identify all the structures from that drone footage so that we can ask targeted questions of the company instead of just general things that they don't have to answer. When I say, oh, can you tell me why it smells? Then they say, well, it doesn't smell. If I can say, well, this cooker over here, I can say, I know more, I know something about this. Well, this cooker over here seems to be, falling down. I'm just spitballing here. Could that be part of the problem? And start to, chip away at the narrative that they're putting out. Right. I don't know what's going on, but people are unhappy.
You can read Melanie's already existing reporting on the issue, and
it's only the one story so far.
You got a lot more to go going forward. So, and I love the fact that you're now using drone footage to get behind the wall.
William Palmero. I got to tell you, that guy is like a machine. He just sets that thing up there, and
is he a South Lowell resident?
No, he's Centerville. He's
Centerville resident.
Yeah, okay. He actually came to me because of the apple orchard project. Because I was standing on a ladder out there, because I can't trespass. So I have to perch up on the hill on a ladder to get. He said, "Well, you
don't get paid enough for what you do."
No, seriously, I needed a safety harness. And he said, "I have a Lowell, I have a drone. I can get that for you better." I was like, "Sign me up, man." Sure. And since then, it's been beautiful.
That is awesome.
I know. And so then he just sent me footage. I haven't run a story on this yet, but the I don't know if I'm saying it right, 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 temple on Townsend Avenue apparently cut down a ton of trees. And we have drone footage of it. They're lined up like a little. Yeah. So.
All right. When are we going to read that story?
Well, I sent it to Brad with the Conservation Commission because I think that's a floodplain. And
that's over off the Rourke Bridge, right? Is that the area I'm thinking of, or no?
It's in Pawtucketville. It's sort of, but it's
where
right.
the soccer fields are.
Yeah.
God, how many trees? Where would they cut those trees? That's like wide open land in front of that temple, right? If I'm thinking of the right place.
Forested all the way around, and then they had a big swath of, I don't know, pine trees or whatever in front. All those are gone. I'm going to drive by that.
Do we know why they were cut?
Well, I don't know, but because I have to email them next. But I don't know that they're allowed to. I don't.
Trees have become a big deal. Councilor 𝐼𝐥𝐻 has become the tree counselor.
Well, yeah, and I think with floodplains the rules are different. I'm sketchy on this because I've never really reported on it. When it's an apple orchard, apparently you can cut down whatever you feel like because it's private property, and you don't even have to come back and plant anything. So, but with certain parcels, you have to abide by Conservation Commission rules. Mm-hmm. So the question is, and I've asked Brad this, is did they violate the rules, and are they going to have to ask forgiveness versus permission? What does that mean?
That is an old strategy, right?
Yeah, so there's like pockets. Yeah, exactly. And there's pockets of this, stuff going on all over. People push it to the limit. and see if anybody barks back. And if they don't bark, then they keep doing it.
I'd love to know what the reason is that they would take them down, because I would think there's enough open land that they're not expanding.
Well, they're not building a temple, for crying out loud.
You know, they're building something else.
No, they got the site plan.
Were those trees, you know, I mean, the pine trees can be a little messy. They get that stuff that falls and ruins your lawn. But
yeah, but I don't know. You know, they got planning board approval to build that temple back in 2018. John Cox was the lawyer for that thing. I just looked it all up this weekend because, like, what is up with this temple? Why did they suddenly have tree clearing equipment on their land? And are they going to finally build something? But I don't see any. I don't know what that was all about. So I have to reach out to them. But you know, you feel like there's pockets of this stuff going on, and it feels random and uncontrolled. And you do wish you had like a strong mayor. To put too fine a point on it, but who could just say, yeah, no, this isn't go and sin no more. Get your act together or else.
Well, we're going to be reading the Sun for updates on that as well.
You got Markley, you got Baker Commodities, you got the Monks. What else do we have?
All right, Geneva.
Oh, Geneva, yes.
You
junket?
reported in the Sunday column about the city council and city administration are being invited to Geneva, the European headquarters.
Not Illinois, right.
The European headquarters of the United Nations.
Right.
To officially have the front runner ceremony there, because the one in Toronto and the one in Lowell,
wasn't enough.
Apparently, there's steps that have to be done. Yep. I found out about it because I realized it was running into my debate schedule, and I may have to reschedule debates depending on the exact dates. You said it's the 23rd through the 27th.
I believe it's
of this month.
Right. Yeah, it's coming up fast. If you don't have a passport, you might not be able to get it.
Interesting. Interesting thing there. But so the entire Lowell City Council was invited to go along. If they bring anybody else along or choose to stay extra days, the added expense is on them. But
the hotel is covered.
The hotel, I believe, is covered by the UN people.
Right.
And the flights or the transportation is covered by the City of Lowell budget. That's a great thing for the city, is it not?
I don't think you have to do an all call. You know, I think the vice mayor should go, of course. And I think, of course, Danny Rourke should go. And Manager Golden, of course, should go, and somebody from his administration, probably Yvonne or somebody equivalent.
So you think having a touring group of 12 to 24 people is overkill?
I do. And I don't think in this budget climate, when we're looking down the barrel of October, where the 90, what is the 90, or no, 9C cuts. 9C cuts might, maybe not. Maybe they won't happen. Maybe we'll bring in tons of revenue and it'll balance out the budget. It'll be over the budget. But if the revenue is less than the budget, they're automatic cuts, which is shocking. You know, there's no debate. There's no appeal like where there was with the Lowell Folk Festival. There's just no money. And I personally don't feel you should be jetting off to Switzerland. So,
even for something as big as a global announcement.
It's perspective. It's not prospective. It's not, you're signing a deal, but it's only on paper right now. This is just me. Nothing's happened. When you actually get the investment, this is just saying, the UN is just saying, we've designated this a front runner city. Come and spend your money. But they're not mandating anybody spend their money. They're not even lining up contracts. They're just saying, this is a front runner city that you can, promote. So I think it's very, what do you call it?
They did make it sound like money would start coming in at some point next year, is my understanding. If I could read between the lines of what Eduardo Moreno, my new man
from who
had to say.
From the UN?
From UN folks, yes.
Yeah, but who are those folks? I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. I'm not trying to rain on their parade. I'm saying until we actually sign something, I think it's premature.
Well, we have signed the agreement.
We've already signed it.
Talking about it until money exchange.
With the junket. Yeah, until the...
So was it a junket in Toronto when, I think 7 councilors went to Toronto?
No, because that's just, what is that, 4 hours away, 6 hours away? It's not that, it's not that bad.
Probably cost as much, though.
Do you think?
Well, if they had to pay, I wonder who paid for the whole. Now you're going to make me ask who paid for the hotel rooms in Toronto. But what are we going to talk here?
I don't think it's a good look.
$25,000, $30,000 for
Yeah, I just
12
don't. Yeah, and it's
people?
probably coming out of the manager's contingency, so he has that
Maybe that's why they
discretion.
squirreled that money
Yeah,
away.
I mean, that's another budget item where you don't really, there's not really an accounting. I mean, they audit it and all that stuff, but it's sort of the slush fund, free cash. These little areas that don't show up in the main budget that we're all looking at, in their meetings. But, and that would be a smart move by the manager to use that money.
I know they touted a couple of times while they were here, the UEF people, Urban Economy Forum, that they were impressed by Lowell's buy-in and the fact that so many councilors went to Toronto. Could it be like, if you show,
Right.
every
Yeah.
hypothetically, every city councilor goes.
So you
for
make
4
money,
days,
you spend money to make money.
You spend money to make money, but
Yeah.
you're also showing the world, you're showing whoever these investors are that, look, Lowell is all in.
Right. Maybe.
We made the right choice or whatever, right?
Sure. I mean, you're right. That's sort of the soft power stuff you have to demonstrate. Yeah, well, they should just say so then. I mean, I feel like the more information you give, it doesn't hurt. But maybe you could get that hotel through the U8. I'm telling you.
Well, I did have one of Eduardo Marino's ears.
Yeah. Oh, at the dinner. That's right.
I did.
Good for you.
We talked about it and what types of projects are eligible. It's local development that expand on local businesses and whatnot. So
don't let the city build that hotel up on by what is it, the Thorndike, the MBTA or whatnot, the LRTA. They had some rendering where there was a hotel. I thought
the city needs them. Was that a hotel? I thought that was a housing thing.
Oh, was it?
First floor commercial. I don't know. Whatever it is. I'd like to see that. I was when I saw that, I'm like, that makes sense. That makes right. That makes
they don't have to buy the land. It's already there.
Correct.
It's right by the LRTA. That area needs something, and sure.
It would certainly be the thing Lipoli promised to build first at Thorndike and then in Hamilton Canal. And then I saw it on top of the train station.
Right. That place always has for lease on it. I can't tell if that's fully subscribed.
The Thorndike?
Mm-hmm. The housing.
Well, whenever I go to Jade or to the little cafe there, it does seem like there aren't many people living there.
Well, I can tell you, every time I want to take pictures at South Coppin, I park in that lot, and I always get a spot. That's sort of my metric. Is there parking? Because if there's parking, that means there's
they're
not
all
business.
Parking in the garage and using the footbridge that the
Have you parked in that?
paid
I'm
for.
not trying to trash the LRTA, but have you parked in that garage?
Not for a long time. I used to when I'd park
dark.
the train.
I parked in there for the folk
then.
festival and took the bus up, because I tried to do the boots on the ground kind of reporting. And I was the only one on the bus. And I'm pretty sure I was the only one in the garage. This was last year, not this year.
Nobody took advantage of what is it, like $5 to park there and take the free shuttle into the festival?
Yeah.
And everyone goes and pays the $20,
Well,
$25.
the garage is really dark and intimidating.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Now, I used to go there more often. My ex used to take the train into Boston, so every now and then I'd have to drive her off. It's been a long time since I've been there. I would assume they built it up and fixed it up especially since they attached the footbridge. The taxpayer-funded
the footbridge is nice, but the garage itself, I found it, particularly as a woman traveling alone at night. I was there during the day. I pulled in during the day, but I came back at night. And I was like, And even during the day, the garage was dark. But I have to go back. That was a year ago, so maybe they've improved their lighting. But I thought, I don't know, it's those little things. That's why I like the HCID. I think that's a great garage.
That's where I parked this year.
Very well. Yep. It's very well lit. It's big. It's
easy access in and out. And do a little. Plus, I got a few extra steps in.
Yeah.
On the way to pick up my car at the end of the night.
My second favorite is the Roy, just because of proximity.
Oh, that's the best garage in the city.
Yeah. My least favorite is the one over by the ICC.
Oh, the
I cannot figure out that garage. That garage is cuckoo. The ceilings are low. I don't know. It's weird.
It's a smaller one.
Yeah, it's a smaller one.
But it's also now very underused.
Right.
So hopefully, if something comes over there.
They should just build something on top of that. Could they?
The manager keeps talking about that.
Yeah. Oh, do they?
Build up. Not on that specific lot.
Oh, in front of
back when he was a state rep, I remember him always talking about why can't you build up? Why can't you? Because
Why can't you?
was challenged. He used to say this a decade ago, and now it looks like this front runner city thing from the artist renditions that I saw.
They're building up.
It looks like we're going vertical, folks.
Well, except if you're Salapoli, of course.
He can't only go 5 or 6 stories.
Because you can't afford the steel.
And first floor commercial is apparently
right. You
very
can only do
challenging.
a saloon type wooden building from the 1800s, on a frontier town. You can't build.
Do you think he's just glad to be out of Lowell at
I
this
think they
point
pushed
and
him
in
out,
Littleton?
knowing. It's interesting.
Or he's like, I wonder if I could have gotten some low interest loan.
I didn't put in the column.
Had he played his cards right, could he have been part of this, the local developer that the UEF group kept talking about that's going to build housing but a first floor commercial?
This is why I come here, Teddy. I think he thought he was skunking us, like the Rubes and Lowell. And I think, credit to Manager Golden, I have spoken to nobody.
Did the Rubes get a hold of him?
The Rubes skunked him because they needed to clear the deck. Yeah. They needed to make a little noise, but then they had to come with their hat in hand. Oh, please, Mr. Lapoli, let us out of this contract. Let's go in peace, because they knew the front runner was coming.
I when I saw that, Lapoli didn't want to build, but suddenly Cabot and Forbes, which has a really impressive portfolio, I was like, we'll come build in there and we'll give you that first floor commercial that you wanted. Yeah. Not the 8-story tower, but
they compromised.
Lapoli wasn't even promising you. He's like, if you force me to build it, I'll build it, but it's going to be vacant like everything else.
It would have been a constant conflict, and if you had sued, it would have been a black mark for the front runner city, I think. And again, nobody said anything to me, but that's why I put in the column about how his daughter had the Zac Brown band. And that maybe when they do the ribbon cutting, the Zac Brown band can perform, which was sort of like a little shiv. Right. As if, that's, he's out of the game, is my sense. Yeah. That he's not going to get any projects in here.
And I got a hunch some bigger players are coming in to follow CCF and whatnot.
I like Sal. I like it. I saw I just went up to not New Hampshire, Haverhill. Where it's beautiful.
The 8-hour tower that I was rated. That's what I wanted to see.
I would never have thought that would work in Haverhill. I don't know what the subscription rate is on that. I don't know if he bought it.
Downtown had a really good revitalization.
Did it?
But also, one of the things, so Lapoli's Riverwalk in Lawrence, somebody pointed this out to me. I'm like, why doesn't he do this stuff in Lowell? He did it in Lawrence at the Riverwalk. He did it in Haverhill. They tell me, look at who all his tenants are.
Who are all his tenants?
Taxpayer-funded tenants. Government agencies.
Really?
Government agencies. There's a couple of anchor businesses, but in Lawrence, the Registry of Motor Vehicles is there. There's some other government offices there. There's some private businesses there, but he's getting this. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, and whatnot. That formula in Lowell, for whatever reason, didn't seem to work.
Well, Danny Rourke found a workaround. Danny Rourke and Tom Golden found a workaround. They went to Canada.
Go get some folks from Geneva to put some money in.
They went to our 51st state and got...
Can you imagine we'd have to redesign the flag?
Seriously, what would that look like?
Awful. All right, you mentioned Zac Brown.
Maple leaf in the middle.
Zac Brown, who entertained attendees at the wedding of Sal Lapoli's daughter, which is great. But I love stuff like that. But if I had enough money, I would have I would have somebody awesome perform. Wilson Phillips performed at the wedding in Bridesmaids. Right. Zac Brown at the Lapoli wedding. Maybe Zac Brown can make Smith-Baker Center happen, right?
Oh, don't get me started.
We got a different Zac, did we not? Zach Bryan for 𝐾𝐚𝐢𝐥, right?
For the 𝐾𝐚𝐢𝐥,
so
right.
Zach Bryan, Zac Brown, Zach with 5-letter last name, starts with B. I like it. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
Well, now that we're doing conspiracy, now that we're being cynics together, which is my favorite space, I do wonder if the Smith-Baker was sort of a tie-on too. Like, because they're very big on that. Toronto is an old growth city, and Montreal, of course, is all old growth that's been repurposed. So I wonder, and those Europeans in general are old growth. They love their old stuff. So I wonder if the Smith-Baker and the 𝐾𝐚𝐢𝐥, was sort of like, play the long game.
A little low interest loan will make it easier to spend your 20, 30 million, whatever it costs to rehab.
Right. Maybe this helped grease the wheels. We push Lapoli out of the way, take him off the board. We keep Smith-Baker on the board for now. We drag out the application, which I had heard, and I reported that I had heard from a good source in City Hall that the application, the proposal, was incomplete. The 122-page proposal. When they pushed back and said, "Oh no, it's not. It was completely. All the I's were dotted and the T's crossed."
It's been over a month now, but we haven't heard any official word from the city about whether the bid has been approved.
And allegedly, they were the only bid. So send me the proposal. Let me read it for myself. And I never got it. So I don't know where that stands. But if you're playing the long game, which I think this administration is by virtue of his 5-year contract.
That's what you can afford the long game when you've got a 5-year.
Then I would play that. I would do delay of game. They're not in the red zone. The Smith-Baker Center is not in the red zone. They're not ready, not in my mind. They have promises of $500,000.
I'm rooting like hell for them.
Sure.
I'm still not sure their business model works. I think
I think
it needs more of an anchor.
And if you're talking about accountability and transparency, start with that, because that's a big piece of our downtown development. That leads into that Merrimack corridor.
Sure.
And it leads into the downtown, really.
It connects the downtown and acre.
Right.
Just another nice little thing there. But
maybe a hotel there? I don't know.
Let's get someone anywhere. We need multiple. My
glass.
theory is Lowell needs multiple.
Well, true.
So you're doing digging on the Smith-Baker Center bid. You're doing some digging and droning over Baker Commodities and their plant in South Lowell. You're digging on the Rourke Bridge. You should wear like a hard hat and a shovel.
Seriously, a lot of irons in the fire, but that's good. You know, when I first came to the city, it seemed like it was waste management and trash day. You know,
complain about your barrel not being picked up.
Right, and it seemed very small ball and low end kind of stuff, low end reporting. And then Corey Robinson's case sort of kicked it up into the big leagues. That was, it wasn't a regional story, but it was political. It had shades of Nagel attached to it. Like, how's this going to play out? And then it kind of settled down again, and now it's blowing up. So we are sort of in the link. We've got the whole link thing. Like, what's going on with that? I'm about to email her. Emailed Julie Chen. You were supposed to have shovels in the ground in March. Again, I'm not throwing shade. I'm just playing off of what you said. So bring me the update on your plans. VinFan, I got to email them about their restoration center. I just drove by there the other day, peered in the windows, nothing.
You're like a peeping Tom.
Well, I just sort of like, whatever happened to that? I don't mind being the PR agent on public information news in early stages. I don't have a problem with that. But then,
where's the follow through?
The follow through is really important. I'm not just your PR flacky. In the first story, maybe, because I'm a good doobie. That's my job. Our job is to promote the community. If Julie Chen says they're going to have an $800 million, then we're going to have an $800 million. If VinFen says they're going to have a restoration center, then we're going to have a restoration. Who am I to say otherwise? Until I look in the windows and nothing's happened. So, this concerns me. I, want to find out that people are following through.
Everyone that you talk to, that I talk to, they always point to those interest rates.
There's no doubt a good thing.
Rates. We got to. Marty Meehan said it to me about when I asked specifically about links. Is those interest rates are a challenge? That's why I tried to get to that session with the UEF people. Like, is Front Runner City? Is there money that could kickstart that? We don't have to worry about what Fed Chairman Powell is doing or whatever. Will outside investment come in, and more importantly, those low interest loans? Because I think Link has the investment.
They have the company,
the state money or the companies that they've got that are involved with it. They've done it elsewhere. But are they just waiting for those interest rates to go from 7 to 5 or whatever? Whatever that magic number is. It's a waiting game.
Right? Yeah. Well, the state doesn't have an investment in Link. They're a beneficiary. They're not actually putting money into it, as far as I know.
I think there's some type of infrastructure stuff that goes in there.
There's the ancillary,
or whatever,
street improvements, bridge improvements, that kind of thing.
Because they do say of the $800 million that's supposed to be the Link investment, what do they say, $600 million of it is private investment. So.
Where's the other $200 million?
The $200 million says to me, taxpayers are going to put the bill for this in some way, shape, or form. Is it DC? Is it Beacon Hill?
That's a good point.
But,
I guess it's, maybe naive to think that they're just going to issue a press release and tell us why it's delayed. I feel like I shouldn't have to come to them and say, hey, what's up? just tell us.
That maybe starts to sell questions.
You think, really? Is that the naive part of me?
I've seen it through Hamilton Canal. I started my radio career in 2007, and we were all excited about the Hamilton Canal project, and here we are. We're praying that, we just got Lapoli out, the third developer, I think. That
18 years?
It's been a long time. the courthouse took forever to be built. The courthouse was supposed to be the first project in 2007. They actually, They did 110 Canal, which the university ended up buying
Right.
from Trinity, but the courthouse was the linchpin. We were told, well, nothing can really start until the courthouse gets built.
Well, no,
So-
that's not true. The garage.
Yeah, the garage, yeah.
Please.
Didn't the courthouse come before the garage?
Yeah,
And then nothing else. We got some wind properties there.
Yeah, and they're going to build something
whatnot.
else,
They've
right?
got
That's
more
another
coming.
one. What's going on with that?
Draper is supposedly
Right.
got something planned
On that
for in there,
parcel,
some
right.
type of lab facility or whatever. So there's a lot going on, but I'm kind of with you. I'm like, I'm ready now to start seeing the construction zones. And then
lot
we
of
can start
promises.
complaining about construction
Right,
noise and,
right, and dirt and dust.
Dirt and dust piles out there.
Do you think they're going to lower interest rates?
The Fed?
Yeah.
Everything
Do you
I
think they
hear
should?
is they should have by now, yeah.
Yeah.
But
You don't
they,
think that's going to create
inflation,
drive up inflation or stagflation? I keep
will it?
reading.
Won't it?
I'm not an economist. I don't know. I can't figure the yin yang.
I think the government printing money created enough inflation.
Yeah, that's true.
So I am not an expert on any of that stuff.
But they
so
can just all finance it through Bitcoin. So I don't, what's the big
we
problem?
can make the United States a front runner country.
Yeah, exactly.
And suddenly the interest will drop on
Right,
everything in America. And we can invite Donald Trump to next year's Folk Festival
I think there's an angle there.
Melanie Gilbert, we're going to be watching. I want to know about that South Lowell smell. I want to know about the Rourke Bridge.
Smith Baker.
And did the other bidders get shafted on that?
I'd be interested to hear. They're not going to say anything.
Surprise
but I'll have to ask them.
contingency. Hotel shelters, Smith Baker Center, the junket to Geneva. I like alliteration, by the way. Geneva junket.
Well, I'll tell you, I did tell all will be forgiven if they bring back chocolate, but I don't know if they can with 35 or 39% tariff. So
how much is it? $10? They pay an extra what? $33.50.
Well, he wants to get rid of duty free too. So I don't know. You're stuck coming and going.
Okay. They can maybe order some Hershey's chocolate for you.
They
from
sell those big
Pennsylvania.
Toblerone bars in the airport. They're like a foot long. They're a foot high and a foot long. It's crazy.
All right. Melanie Gilbert,
Thank you for
always
having me.
busy,
Good to be
always
here.
good to have you on. Read her work in the Lowell Sun, the Sunday column, of course, but all throughout the week. And you already gave us the full pipeline of articles. So I am waiting.
Lot hopping. Lowell is
anxiously.
a lot to like about Lowell. I'm telling you, it's hot. It's hopping.
If you cover Lowell,
Yep.
there is a lot to like
going
about
on.
Lowell.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thank you, Teddy.
Thank you to Melanie Gilbert. Thank you for tuning in as well. The Monday, August 4th edition of the Daily Pulse. Tomorrow, Jerry Nutter will join us. Yeah, Jerry, did you
Nice.
chat Jerry's
I did.
writing return
Yes,
yesterday?
I like that. He needs to do that every week.
Some Sunday notes. So we'll see if we can get Jerry to do that regularly. He's going to do some podcasting with us tomorrow. I don't know what the hell I have the rest of the week. I got something going on. I know it ends with the Pod Squad on Friday, but whatever it is, whether it's me talking to an empty chair or me talking to somebody like Melanie, every day at noon, the Daily Pulse will drop on InsideLowell.com, on YouTube, on your social media channels. It's the show that keeps its finger on the pulse of Lowell and the world around it. Till tomorrow, everybody stay safe, stay cool out there. It's going to be a scorcher, and we'll see you on the other side.